Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and we are on Spot Rack today because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got a little bit of an infusion of cash. Now, for those of you who do not remember, the Buccaneers released outside linebacker Shaq Barrett, and they designated him as a post-June 1st cut. Well, we are past June 1st now, which means the Buccaneers have gotten an additional $4.9 million to spend. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a ton of money, but you can bring in a player or two, at least on a very cheap veteran minimum type of deal, with that type of money. So I wanted to go through, just refresh everybody as to the current free agents out there at some of the respective positions, just to talk about what some of the options may be for the Bucs. Quarterback, again, there's really nothing out here for the Bucs to be interested in my opinion. I mean, unless they want to bring in some more competition at quarterback, but really, bleh, nothing really out there. Running back is a bit interesting. Maybe you take a look at Cam Akers, former Minnesota Viking, former LA Ram, has a bit of a history with Liam Cohen. They spent time together in LA. That could be possibly an option in there. You have, Kareem Hunt, but he's probably expecting more money. Aside from that, former USF guy Marlon Mack, probably not really going to be an option. Really, the only running back I would think would be Cam Akers, if anything. But the Bucs do seem pretty satisfied with their running back stable right now, especially after drafting a, running back in Bucky Irving. So, I don't know. Could they bring in another wide receiver? Let's take a look at this. You have a few different options. Maybe they bring back Russell Gage. Who knows? Hunter Renfro's there, Michael Thomas, a lot of different names that just would probably cost too much for the Bucs, like Renfro, Thomas, probably Jamal Agnew would cost too much. McCole Hardman could be very fun in this offense. He's a very fast wide receiver, although he's been a bit, bit chattery on online in terms of his experiences with teams in the past. So I don't know, maybe you wouldn't want that type of player in your locker room. Sterling Shepard could be an interesting veteran option. There's a lot of fun wide receivers. I'm never going to be opposed to the idea of adding a wide receiver just because I think that is fun as can be. So, I don't know, but there are a couple of wide receiver options. Tight end is something I would still want the Bucs to look at. There are still a couple of options. Logan Thomas, former Washington tight end. Mercedes Lewis at 40 years old, by the way. Shout out Mercedes Lewis, still doing it. You have a few other options, like a young guy in Kenny Yeboah. I've heard good things of him from New York Jets YouTubers in the past as well. You have some other guys like Tyler Kroft, veteran tight end. Really not a lot of great pickings here. David Wells is it's interesting. He's listed as an undrafted free agent, but he's still on the Bucs website, so I don't really know the deal with that. But, maybe a couple of options there as well. To be honest, I'm not going to spend too much time along the offensive line because the Bucs feel very much locked in stone along the offensive line. So, yeah, there are some interesting veterans out there. I just don't think the Bucs would be interested in really any of them, in my opinion. So it's just an interesting option there. Let's take a look at edge defenders real quick, because I still feel like the Bucs could add at this position. A lot of edge defenders signed this offseason, by the way. 99. Wild. If you could get some guys cheap, one guy cheap, maybe you look at like a Tyus Bowser. Maybe you look at, I don't know, maybe a Shaq Lawson, maybe a Marcus Golden, who has some experience with Todd Bowles. They spent time together with the Arizona Cardinals. I think Emmanuel Ogbah's too expensive. I think Carl Lawson's too expensive. I think Yannick Ngakoue is too expensive. But you never know at the end of the day. I don't know. But just throwing out some options there as well. Defensive line. Could you do with another nose tackle? Probably. I would say why not. Let's take a look. I mean, they're not bringing in Fletcher Cox. They're not doing it. Brian Monet is an option. Hassan Ridgeway is a bit of a familiar name in that mix. Lawrence Guy, at 34 years old, if you want a veteran for your locker room. Al Woods, very similar type of situation. Maybe Linval Joseph if you want to bring him in at the age of 36. But aside from that, again, kind of slim pickings here, folks. Nick Williams is also another guy in that mix as well. But, yeah, man. Really, it's kind of it in terms of options. One more thing I want to take a look at is Cornerback. I'm not going to take a look at linebacker just because I feel like they really are pretty much set in that mix. If you want to add another corner, these guys seem like they're all going to be way too expensive. Howard, Jackson, Adoree Jackson, Stephon Gilmore might be a bit too expensive in there. But then you look past that, in terms of nickel cornerback, Steven Nelson, Keon Crossan, K'Wan Williams. The Bucs don't need a nickel corner right now. They have so many different guys. But maybe you look at an outside cornerback like Fabian Moreau. Maybe you look at like a Darrell Worthy. Logan Ryan's retired. You can't look at him. So I don't know. Akilo Witherspoon might be an interesting option at 29 years old. I don't know. If they do want to go with another outside cornerback who isn't somebody they already have under the roster, they do have some options, None of these names are going to blow the doors off of anybody and be like, yes, they should add this guy. But I wanted to present just some veteran options because they do have a little bit more money to play with here, right? So just wanted to throw some options out there. Or they could just use the money on nothing and just keep it as insurance money. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on what you feel like the Buccaneers should use the money they got from Shaq Barrett. Again, $4.9 million. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.